All right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Ruach HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, love, salutations, and blessings to the house of David, which is the elect, right? Coming back with another Sabbath sanctuary. New Year, same thing. We want to roll through the spirit, right? This one is entitled The Sorrows Are Just Getting Started. All right, the sorrows are just getting started. And that's pursuing a prophecy, right? Because Yahweh Shai, forewarned, right, the disciples, right, which we are in that same position today, all right, of the signs of the end. Okay, and as we're seeing, the Lord has turned the faucet up, as Apostle Tahar would say. The faucet is turned up, right, in 2026. And it's the crazy thing about it is, you haven't seen anything yet. I believe Tom Homan, he had spoke of what's happening over there in Minnesota, and he said how he thinks that Minnesota is just the tip of the iceberg. And they said that he was going to go to Illinois, they were going to go to Cali, they said New York City. So the things that you're seeing happening, is only just a small inkling of what is about to be taking place, right? As a day to day, right? From Lord willing, from here on out. Now we know how the Lord works, where you have certain points where things get escalated and certain things slow down, but the time comes where, as like a woman in travail, the birth pains is only just constant, right? And it's only just more and more painful. All right, and now you're seeing these troops, right? They're speaking about, and there's so much stuff, right, to harp on. Through the spirit, we'll touch on what we touch on as the spirit feeds us. But the troops are now speaking about going door to door, right? Actually going to door to pull out people to check their citizenship, X, Y, and Z fraud, right? Which how I don't know how they expect or how they want to go, door to door to check on fraud, but they just coming up with a whole bunch of different excuses just to, come in like that madman, which is really the Lord, right? And the other day I think it was yesterday, I was just meditating on how it's everything that we're seeing being done, although we're looking at it like we're seeing it in the flesh as Esau coming down and all these things, but it's really the Lord orchestrating the left hand, right? As it says in Psalm the 17th chapter, hide me from let me pull that up. Psalm 17, verse verse 13, it says, you know what? Let me see. Yeah, I started 13. It says, Arise, O Yahweh, Bashem Shai, disappoint him, cast him down. And who is the him? Right? It's the wicked. Okay. As it says in verse 9, the wicked that oppress me. See, from my deadly enemies that compass me around about. And this is the position that we are in, right? Especially the men of the Lord and the believers, because we don't have any physical way to, overcome this devil, to fight against this devil, to stand up. And, really, we don't want any physical way, because we want the power of the Lord, right, to work on our behalf, right? As in the days of old, as the Lord did it time and time again in various generations, which he said, in this time he's going to work a new work. All right. But in order for the Lord to work that work, he has to put us in that position to be compassed about, right? He has to put us in the position to need him. And this is why we cry out until Yahweh Bashem Shah. See? So reading back to verse 13, it says, Arise, O Yahweh, disappoint him, cast him down, deliver my soul from the wicked, which is thy sword. So deliver my soul, our soul from the wicked. And you see how this devil is moving. He is showing himself to be the damn devil. All right. Just the mindset, the rhetoric that they're speaking, the boastfulness, right? The haughty, the arrogant, all of the attributes of the wicked, all the attributes of Esau, this devil is just showing it. He's holding no strings back. Right. Even I told y'all brothers earlier, like he's showing himself to be such a demon that he's even coming against his own woman, right, in your own kingdom. Like he just showed y'all the post where it said that the unironically the number one enemy of the state or something like that, and it said unhinged liberal white woman, and that was from a conservative white male uh, post X channel. So they got infighting between each other, right? Politically divided, right? Nationally, being divided, and then they're even divided in their genders. So as the Lord said, right, this cup is going to pass onto Esau, and he's going to have to drink of it, and he's not really realizing that this is all ultimately leading up into his fall because he's a proud man. So he's coming with even more and more pride, right? He's not humbling himself. He's not saying, you know what, let me see why things are so disarray. He's blaming everybody else, and of course, the number one person he's blaming is Jake, right? I mean, he's blaming a white woman. It's kind of like the opposite. How with us, we blaming Eve because she was dealing with the white man, dealing with the Satan. The serpent, right? Which that still happens, but now, like how the scripture says that the Lord is, putting these curses on them. So now you got Esau mad at his woman for basically they're saying though they standing up or trying to fight against the conservative white men, right, and their dominance. But hey, where it's a beautiful thing to see how the Lord is bringing down this devil, and these times is showing that it's only going one direction, right? Which is once again the sorrows are only just starting. So yeah, I ended with that. Brothers can jump in.
Kind of got a precept. This is the book of Psalms, chapter 119, verse 126. And it reads, "It is time for thee, Yahweh, to work, for they have made void thy law." And that's the times that we're seeing upon us, right? And it's very interesting because we see like literally everything, like immediately when we see events, precepts pop in mind because the events are like you don't need to scratch your head and wonder, does this fall between this precept, or is this referring to this or that? Now the prophecies are literally like mirror images of the words in the book, to the point where when you see it immediately in your mind, you're like, that looks like Second Esdras 15, right? That looks like Ezekiel 38 or Revelation 17. Like it literally looks like these verses that we're reading of. And that is the working of Yahweh, Bahasham Yahushai, because that's the Lord works on his time. And the duality of that is nothing, as the angel told Ezra, nothing is going to happen until the Lord has set it to happen, right? He has an appointed time. But the other side of that is once that time hits, there's nothing that's going to stop it from happening or taking place. And we don't know, the Lord's timeline, right? But we can watch and see the events and the signs and see sometimes he'll speed it up, he'll slow it down, speed it up, slow it down. But there are times when the Lord is just like, I'm going full throttle, pedal to the metal. And you just see event after event after event, setup after setup after setup. Because eventually when you tilt that first domino back far enough, because you may hit it, you flick it, and it looks like it's about to hit the second one, but then it bounces right back and it stands and then it wobbles a bit. But eventually, as you hit it, it goes far enough to where it cannot bounce back to normality, and then you have that triggered domino effect. And once that domino effect has started, it's not going to stop. So as we're seeing, like we're literally seeing the point where people, and you're seeing bits and pieces of this with the whole ICE shooting that uh the lady over there, right? Now you have people responding saying, yo, we gotta like get arms, like we gotta come, like they're like, we tried the protests, we tried the peaceful stuff, we tried the this, that, and the third, but it's time to come with guns, right? It's time to come up here. I think they were chanting hang Christy Norm. That's screaming Second Ezra 15, right? And we're seeing these things because Yahweh Ba'asham Yahushai is causing them to happen. He's causing it to work. And it's a beautiful thing because we know exactly what's happening, right? And we know exactly what it's going to lead to, what's coming next. We really got our notebooks of prophecy out, our checklist of prophecy out, just waiting to check things off. You look down, you see it, you look up, oh, okay, it's real close. Oh, good God, yeah, all right, we can check that off, and it's letting us know that we're getting closer and closer. So when you start to see these things happening, you're like, okay, if we're seeing all of these things, the whole Iran tensions going on over there, uh, Israel talking about the Iran regime must fall, the U.S. pushing, like the Lord has literally put that evil thought in the mind of Trump to say they're going to press hard on this whole Greenland situation. And you can already see the ripples of that. He's now on some, we're going to do this the easy way or the hard way, but one way or another, we're going to do it. And they've already said, look, you not only are you going to tarnish alliances, right, that you may have had, but you're going to trigger different kinds of wars. You're going to gain new adversaries doing this. So why is all this happening now? Because the Heavenly Father is working in the earth and we're seeing it. And still to this day, you have people that are oblivious to these things. You can have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days of breaking news taking place. And it isn't until somebody sees a meme about it on social media talking about, oh, you can't just go into a country and steal a president, before they start wondering, wait, did I miss something? That's the state that people are in. So as prophecy screams louder, they're just more and more oblivious until it's put in front of their face. So as the title says, the sorrows are just getting started, and these people, you're going to start to feel the actual squeeze, like a anaconda or whatever wrapped around you, squeezing, and it's not going to let up. And we're going to watch, right? Because the Lord is going to be doing his work. You do not look over here, because ain't none of us are jumping in. Ain't nobody's going to pry that anaconda open. That's not happening. And we're definitely not talking, oh, Lord, please, why don't you have murder? What did Ezra say? That time is past. The angel told Ezra that, right? He said that was the time of the past where they prayed for them. And the Lord ain't going to hear that prayer now. Like he told Jeremiah, you think the Lord is going to look at all the wickedness going on in society today and you're going to pray for these people and he's going to hear that? No, he might look at you, a certain kind of way. Yeah. But you brothers got it.
Hey, Khan, got a quick precept here. This is the book of Habakkuk, chapter 2, verse 3. It says, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. Though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And pretty much what brothers have been saying, and it's been going on as a theme so far in 8 days into 2026. All right, the visions are being made manifest at this point. All right, we're like Bakar said, they're jumping off the pages of the scriptures. Right, nowadays it's almost like word for word. Like people are doing things that you'd be like, yo, like I'm literally reading it and breaking it down as what's actually going on. Like what's actually happening in today's real life events is biblical prophecy unfolding. I can literally go into the prophecies and read it word for word, and then read an article describing events that's happening, and it's literally taking the words from the scriptures. Okay? And then you still, at that point, you're sitting there like, yo, this is like almost surreal. Like, it's almost unbelievable. Like, damn, like this is actually happening? Yes, it's happening. But even for us, it's like, sometimes you got to snap yourself back into reality. Like, yo, this is actually happening. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you check, because it's so many things going on. There's so many things going on. This is why we're at the end, because one theme that you always pick up on is that these things is happening simultaneously, globally, and also it's increasing in its in its frequency, right? There was a time where, the things that's happened, all right, over this past week was unforeseen, right? It was like, nah, ain't no way a president could go kidnap another sitting sovereign president with his wife, right? Not just him alone, with his wife. What kind of operation is this? That you're including the drug lord, right? The quote unquote drug lord and his woman. Is she also part of it? Right? And then they said they were being indicted in New York, right? What came out of that? Are we still gonna get a follow up on that? What's really going on? Or did that just die down? So we're just gonna focus on Colombia, and we're gonna focus on so-called Mexico, and then we're gonna focus on Greenland, and we're gonna just forget about what just happened that sparked the whole the world to go crazy. What's going on, right? But they know that these things are happening, and they're happening so fast that it's like one event happens, and then you don't even have enough time to digest it. Another one hits you, and another one hits you, and another one hits you. So for us who are watching, it's like, yo, this is exciting. This is amazing. Like, what do I even touch on? Right? But then for those who are not watching, it causes you not to want to watch, because there's so much going on that you're like, wait, where do I even start? Right? A lot of people didn't know all these things were going to be happening. To them, it's just happening like out of nowhere. Like, damn. Right? But meanwhile, for years, we've been tracking it. right? For those who've been listening to us, it sounds like, yo, y'all been saying this every year, something bad gonna happen, and then, well, it's happening. 8 days in, and you're seeing all these things. So we are super excited. Okay, we are very excited, and that's why when you see DJ Trump moving the way he's moving, it's only confirming everything we've been saying and everything the scripture says, right? That the man of sin is being revealed because he knows that he had but a short time. So he's just, his true nature is just coming out. You know, it's kind of like when you want to find out who's like you want to check somebody's character, right? They might be faking it. They might be, like the scripture says in Ecclesiasticus, right? That though the iron rusteth, right? So shall so is his wickedness, right? So they're able to hide it, right? For a while, a chick, you might meet a chick, right? Maybe the first 6 months, she's like a perfect girl. You like, damn, I found the one, like da da da. And then you give her like another year or two. Next thing you know, you're like, oh, that's who you really are, right? But how did you get to that point? You had to pry it out of her, right? You had to put her in certain situations that brings out her true character, right? So it's the same thing. The Lord is stirring up, like Bakar said. The Lord is stirring things up to the point where now you're starting to see Babylon's true character, right? You're starting to see the Edomites and their true character, how much of a savage brute beast they are, right? All they do is want to go to war, kill, destroy, pillage, steal, rob. All the attributes that's written in the scriptures that describes Esau, Edom, he's showing it in these last days, right? Nobody else on this earth is doing that. The Chinese people are not doing that. Even they have Taiwan, which is like, 100 miles off of their coast, and they're not even attacking it like that. They're not even going in there like that. And then you got America saying, yo, we want Greenland. We must have Greenland. And not that we want it. We must have it. It belongs to us. Right? Hex has said, oh, we need to go to Venezuela because of the oil that they took from us. Like, this is the rhetoric. Again, the Lord is exposing these devils for who they are. Okay? One quick one, and I'm going to pass it. All right, it's the book of Jeremiah, chapter 49, and verse 16. It says, thy terribleness hath deceived thee, and the pride of thine heart. Right? Going back to the point that Zaquan made about how Esau is showing himself even in the pride, his words, right? His actions, okay? His plans, okay? His plans are very blasphemous when you really think about it, right? This nigga plans everything ahead of, like, in the future, but he does it so matter of factly, like, oh, we don't even consider, like, the Lord's plans. We don't even consider prophecy. Like, that's not going to stop us, you know? But it's like, dude, you're subject to prophecy. You might want to listen to the prophets, bro, you know? So it says here, it says, O thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rock, right, the Caucasians, that holdest the height of the hill, though, it says, though thou shouldest make thy nest as high as the eagle, I will bring thee down from thence, saith the Lord. Okay? So it's the Lord who's the one it's the Lord who's the one who's going to bring you devils down, man. Not no other person or a group of people coming together. So all these protests is for nothing. All right, all these the protest is all a sign of more things to come. That's what that means to us. It's not a thing of like, oh wow, people are gonna come together and there's gonna be a revolution. They're gonna overtake their governments and bring peace to them. No. It doesn't play out like that. All right, it doesn't play out like that. This is how it plays out. You do it protesting, you spark some shit. There's more chaos. There's martial law in the streets, and all hell is breaking loose. You getting gunned down. You out of there. That's what's coming. Okay, that is what's coming. A lot of people, mass arrests. Okay, like the Zaquan said, ICE niggas are going to be going into houses. We told you this is the beginning of Rex 84. You see it playing out. They're just not calling it Rex 84, but we telling you what it is. Okay, go back and read the blueprint, and you tell me if this ain't no Rex 84, man. Wait till they start putting mass titles on people, right? They start categorizing people. At that point, it's ball game. Okay, domestic terrorism. She called it. Christy Noem called that lady. What's her name? Renee Good. Whatever she did, right? Oh, that was domestic terrorism because she tried to run over an ICE agent. Okay, we'll see. We will see. All right, y'all brothers got it.
Yeah, I just want to add on to the point that Aharon was talking about when he was like talking about we're actually seeing things happen. I'm gonna bring out a precept. This is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus chapter 25 and verse 7. It reads, there be 9 things which I have judged in mine heart to be happy, and the 10th will I utter with my tongue. A man that had joy of his children, and he that liveth to see the fall of his enemy. See, it's different when you know something is going to happen as opposed to the difference when you actually see something happen. I use a football reference for an example. right? Let's say you're a running back, right? And there's a play called power. Yeah, you could either run it to the left or right, but let's say you run it to the right. How that play goes is the line blocks this way to the left, the guard pulls, kicks somebody out, the fullback leads you through the hole, and the running back's supposed to run for a touchdown, or at least for a couple of yards. You know how the player's supposed to run, so you're like, okay, I'm gonna run this play, probably get a couple of yards, and that's it. But it's different when you see the play actually execute the way it's supposed to go, where it's like, okay, the whole line just shifted everybody over there to the left. The guard kicks the person out, and the fullback picks him up, and now I see nothing but what they call daylight. Now I see nothing but space. It's like, oh, okay, this is different than what I expect. See, it's one thing to know how something's supposed to go, and then when you actually see it happening, that's something completely different. And when you see, even when you watch those football players, when they actually see the hole, you actually see the eyes get big on because like they know I didn't expect that to happen. So now they know what I'm about to run for a touchdown. I'm about to get it. And like Aharon was saying, also what when people see these prophecies, what some people are sad about it. Same thing like what you see in the stadium. Some people's happy somebody scored a touchdown. Another person's sad because it's like, oh my God, this is not what we wanted. Why'd they let that happen? It's the same thing, but just want to just emphasize that point of it's different when you know about something happening because you know what's supposed to happen. But when you actually see things play out, you get that giddy look on your face. You start to smile. Like I use the reference with football players, you'll see the eyes get wide and big and things like that because they know, oh, I'm about to score. This is it. There's a difference when you actually see something come together as well as opposed to when you know it's supposed to come together. It's like, yeah, this is supposed to happen. When you actually see it, everything come together, it's like, that's what I wanted. But that's it.
Con, con, and yeah, I was talking, speaking about the things that are taking place, because what we have the script, right? We have the script of all these things manifesting, so we're not surprised that these things are happening. And I was thinking about how with the whole AI they have what they call prompts now. So where like you can type something in, and then the AI would basically create whatever you typed. So like they're able to like create like short films, and now because of the AI is getting bigger, they're able to create longer films just by what you're typing. So what I was thinking, right, is that's what the Lord did, right? The scripts that you're seeing or script that you're reading and what you're actually seeing is the Lord writing it and then having, the people play out what he wrote, and because it's written just like with the AI prompts, the AI prompts can't go against what is written. If the prompt says throw a football in the air, then the AI is going to generate imagery of a football being thrown in the air. So if the prompt says that they should be sedition among men, no man regarding, with swords in their hands, roughly paraphrasing, not regarding the kings or princes, the course of the action shall stand in their power, well, then that's what's going to happen. So as Aharon was saying, and Bakar was saying, what we're reading, what has been written is actually now what you're seeing. And the Lord has given us the blessing to be able to see it before it actually it actually happened. So now it's like we're actually it's like hindsight, right? But foresight at the same time, because we already seen it in our mind, right? In our eyes, mind, seeing these things taking place. And of course, right, the brothers come up with their own different versions of what things look like, but it's all through the spirit. And then when it actually happens, you see it. We didn't know. Okay, well, Minnesota was going to be the first player. Minneapolis. I don't want to say the wrong spot. Minneapolis is going to be this place, but we already knew that. Okay, you were going to have civil unrest. So how it plays out, that's what you're seeing happening right now. So I got this quick precept in the book of Second Ezra 16, verse 36. It says, "Behold, the word of the Lord, receive it. Believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake." All right, and this is something that we are doing, right? We are beholding. Salaki, I'm gonna start at 35. My bad. Hear now these things and understand them, ye servants of the Lord. All right, I want to start there because the Lord gave the word, okay, unto his servants, the prophets, right? As he told Ezra, hear the word at my mouth, right? Behold, I put the prophecy in your mouth, hear the word, and give them warning. So the Lord gave Ezra the word, but not only did he give it to him, he allowed him to see it. Right. It wasn't just like the Lord said, all right, I'm gonna put this word right in your mouth and then you just go repeat it. He actually allowed Ezra to see what he was talking about. That's why in Habakkuk said, I will stand upon my watchtower and I will wait to see what the Lord will say to me. So you don't see something with your ears. So why did he say, well, I will wait to see what the Lord would say? Right? Yeah, you don't see something with your ears, you see something with your eyes. So the Lord speaks through what he actually does, right? And this is how we know that we're in a time where in the Lord speaking, right? As it says in Second Ezra, the ninth chapter, it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. Now, when the Lord speaks, to the people, he does that through the prophets. But when the Lord speaks to the prophets, he does that through visions, and that's a beautiful thing how the Lord works with us. All right, we see what the Lord is doing, and then he tells us go and see or go and say what you saw. Reading back verse 36, it says, the word of the Lord, Salakia, yeah, behold the word of the Lord, receive it, believe not the gods of whom the Lord spake. All right. And you got a many, as Paul said, there's many gods and many lords, right? And all of them speak vanity, they speak falsely. Okay. Only the most high Yahweh Bashem Howard Shai speak the things that are right. He speaks the things that are true. So when anybody would say, "Oh, it's not going to get that bad," or they're not going to go to war, it's not going to escalate into civil unrest, or it's not going to escalate into World War III, we're not believing any of those things because what the Lord said, that's what's actually happening. And people, and I always been using this term, people have this cognitive dissonance so much, and it's like now they're at a point where it's like their brain is splitting because they want to believe what they want to believe, but their eyes are showing them something completely opposite. And you can't be two people. So now you're just stuck in your mind and your brain. And that's why the scripture says man's heart failing them for fear. Because it's like, yo, you can't deny what you're seeing right now. You know? Verse 37, it says, behold, the plagues are nigh and are not slacked. All right, and these 8 days are very there's a testimony to that these plagues are not slacked because literally every day since January 1st has been something different that is major, right? Something different that is just showing like, yo, this is crazy. This is crazy. Like I can't even remember what happened on January 1st anymore because of so much stuff that happened up until then, up until now. So the Lord said these plagues are not slacked. And that's the beautiful thing about how, the Lord is bringing in the end, right? Because he told us that this generation isn't going to pass till all these things be fulfilled. So if this generation isn't going to pass, and we're seeing the various different events that are happening, this goes to show that the Lord is speeding up these days, man. He's making a speedy riddance of this place. But as it says in the next chapter, or next verse rather, and when a woman with child in the ninth month bringeth forth her son with 2 or 3 hours of great pain compass her womb, which pains, Salakia, when the child coming forth, they slack not a moment. See? So always use this analogy in various different prophets, even Yahweh Shai, he used this analogy because it really drives the point of these times, right? Because as a woman with child, she can't escape it, right? She can't lessen it, right? And it only gets worse as it gets closer and closer till that child comes. And really, this child is well, to us, a child is born, but it's only going to get worse and worse until Yahushai comes. And these things that the Lord has told us to watch for are the things that are happening. But as it says, these are the beginning of sorrows, right? It's only just the start of the contractions. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrows shall come upon it on every side. right? So the world is mourning, like how the brother Shalimar said about you in the stadium and somebody scored a touchdown and you don't want it. Imagine you at a home game, or should I say, you at an away game, right? And and you went to the away game to watch your team play. So you in the stadium of a home crowd, but you're the away team's fan, right? And your team scores in their stadium, everybody else is going to be mourning, and you're going to be the only one that's happy. And that's the position that we're in because we're here. We have no continuing city, so we're in their stadium. We're in their home, right, watching them lose. You see, and what happens when you celebrate when everybody else is mad? They gonna want to try to fight you. They want to they want to get in your face. But hey, we got something for that. Well, the Lord got something for that. We don't got nothing for it. The Lord got something for that. You know. But I'm gonna stop it right there.
Yeah, I had some real quick. Actually, I'm gonna bring this out again. The precept that the brother Bakwa brought out, Psalms 119 and 126. And once again, it is time for thee, Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, to work, for they have made void thy law. And as we always say, we are the heralds of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, the hopeful elect, the hopeful men of Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua, the prophets of the Lord. And a herald's job is to herald the coming of his Lord, to herald the coming of his king. But there comes a certain point where the herald's job is over with, and he has to take a back seat, and the king actually arrives. And we are at that point where, and we're quickly approaching it. We're not there yet because we're still preaching. Obviously, Lord's will, we're going to be out on the highways again tomorrow. As long as the Lord wants us to be out there, we're going to be out there. But there comes a time where the herald steps back and the king that he's heralding in steps in, and the herald takes the back seat. And we are quickly approaching the time where this thing is going to be bigger than us. It's always been bigger than us. But everything that we've been speaking on is like that avalanche that's getting going. And now it's at the point where you see it's just out of control. Prophecy is just, it's an irresistible force. Everything is subjected to it. It's an unmovable force. It's an irresistible force. And as you can see, everything is going quick. And there's going to come a time where the Lord is going to put us in a hidden pavilion. As a matter of fact, I think I had brought that out to brothers earlier in the chat. Let me see if I can bring it out. And when you go into that word pavilion, I had actually done some research on the word pavilion. I'll get into that in a second, but this is Psalms 31 and 20. Well, I'm gonna read Psalms 31 and 17. Let me not be ashamed, O Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, for I have called upon thee. Let the wicked be ashamed and let them be silent in the grave. Yeah, bring death and destruction upon the wicked, starting with Esau, Edom, the wicked of our people that are in accordance with him. All right, but let us not be ashamed, because what have we done? We've called upon the Lord. We put up our prayers, we put up our supplications. All right, it says, let the lying lips be put to silence, which speak grievous things proudly and contemptuously against the righteous. And that's what we've been speaking about. A lot of the things that they're doing this year is, legislation and different things that they've already had, like the brother mentioned, Rex 84, which is short for Readiness Exercise 84. And as we said, they're not going to come out and say, well, listen, this is Rex 84. We're going to do it to y'all now. They're just going to do it. And those that know, if you know, you know. If you don't, then you're going to get caught out there. Okay? But what was the point? It said, let the lying lips be put to silence. And that's exactly what the Lord is getting ready to do. All right? So as the truth has been spoken through the Lord's servants, the prophets, all right, the secret has been made known to the Lord's servants, the prophets, and it's been manifested. Now it comes a time where we go into the background and the Lord manifests his work. The Lord manifests, his judgment, and we just sit back and watch. We quickly approaching that time. All right, because there's going to come a time where doing the work of the Lord is going to be a thing of the past. There's going to come a time quickly, and it may be this year, where we're going to look back and say, yeah, remember the days when we used to do the work of the Lord? Now, not to say that we're going to stop doing the work, but the work, it will change. We're still going to serve the Lord, but we're not going to be doing this ministry for much longer. All right, and that's just based off the signs that we're seeing. They clearly letting you know you will need digital ID to even get on YouTube and different things. They want to do that this year, So that's what it seems like. We're going to keep watching it and see what happens. But going back to Psalms 119, it is time for thee to work. Now is the time where Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai is going to say, listen, y'all, you did your job. Good job, my service. Now step aside and let me get active. Which he's been active the whole time, but you get the point that I'm making, is that there's going to come a time where it's going to go beyond just us speaking on it. And we're quickly approaching, and you see what's happening, that the Lord is getting ready to put us off to the side. All right. And even then, we're still going to be, a focal point in a lot of ways. But in terms of this truth coming out in this format, it's going to be a whole different way that the Lord does it. All right. But this is, I got a couple more. It says, I'm going to skip down to the 20th verse. Thou shalt hide them in the secret of thy presence from the pride of men. And that's what the Lord is going to do. And who is the most prideful one? When you go into the scriptures, Esau is known as the man of sin. He's also known as, being the most proud. Okay. Everything associated with pride and wickedness is Esau, Edom. All right. So the Lord is going to hide us in that day. All right. So as they're going and doing this, we're going to be like ghosts in the spirit. They're going to be trying to get a hold of us, and it's going to be very hard to reach us in that day. All right. And the Lord is going to be making manifest these judgments. All right. And you can see it playing out right now with World War III. And that's when it says in Amos, the 8th chapter, they're going to be looking to and fro. If we were just out there in the open still, why would they be looking to and fro for the men of the Lord to seek out the word of the Lord? That's because it's not going to be readily available. It's going to be hidden. And it says here, thou shalt hide them in the secret of thy presence from the pride of man. Thou shalt keep them secretly in a pavilion from the strife of tongues. And when you go into that word pavilion, it goes into, I think the word in Spanish is papillo, which is basically like a tent. All right. And the reason that it's described like that is because the way that the tent is set up, it looks like a butterfly's wings. That's what papillo means. It's butterfly. I think it's something similar in Latin, but basically that's where the Lord is going to be hiding them. And that's somewhere, typically when you think about a tent, you think about something like a Feast of Tabernacles. When we were in the wilderness and the Lord had us, we were set up in tents and things like that. But a pavilion is a place of protection, all right? In the wilderness, in the wild, and somewhere where there's a lot of things that can go wrong, the Lord is going to have us set up to where we're going to be good. All right, and I'm going to read the last part. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, thou shalt keep them. Thou shalt keep them secretly in the pavilion from the strife of tongues. You see, what is the strife of tongues? Okay, that is all of the lies, all the anti-Semitism, the extremists this, extremists that, all of the lies and slander that they're going to be throwing on us. Stephen Miller, I could imagine that devil getting up there and talking his shit. He's going to go crazy. These motherfuckers are madmen, That's how he's going to be going. And the simple believe it every word. You still have people that are out there going right, left, the right, the Democrats, the lefties. Oh, the MAGA, they still in that. Anybody who's in that type of mindset, you're done. You still believe that there's something to politics. The bankers control both sides. Okay. Revelation 13, 2 horns as a lamb, but spake as a dragon. You can't tell that it's both the same. Oh, you think right and left is going to make a difference. It's both leading you to the same place. So if you're still in that type of mindset, you're finished. And you still have many people out over there. Oh, the lady, she should have got hit. She shouldn't have got hit. At the end of the day, it was the Lord's judgment. And at the end of the day, it's all a distraction so that they can bring in martial law. If you can't see that that's the whole purpose, then you're lost. Okay? But again, tying it into what I just brought out, the strife of tongues, in the NLT, it says, you shelter them in your presence far from accusing tongues. And what does that remind you of? The accuser of our brethren. All right, the accuser of our brethren. Who's the one who's constantly making that accusation? And Esau, a lot of time, he's afraid to directly address us. you know, because they know that there's a spiritual power behind us. There's an actual power behind us. He's afraid to actually address us, you know. So they may not say Hebrew Israelite directly, but they'll. Stephen Miller, when you listen to his speech, the most famous one that he did after the whole, I think it was after the CK thing, you know, he was basically addressing us without saying it, you know. But now they're getting to the point where it's like, you got to mention us directly and go ahead and do it. And that should scare you, that we're in the mindset to say, go ahead and call us out. Go ahead and put us out there, because we know our God is going to defend us in that day. That's the faith that we have. Because in these last days, it's all going to come down to faith. Either you have it or you don't. And that's only a gift that can come from Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. You can't go and buy it. You know, you can't work out and get it. I'm going to hit the gym I'm going to hit the gym every single day, man. You know, not including the Sabbath. I'm going to go and hit the gym. And you can't work out to get faith. You can't diet to get faith. All right. Even if you pray for faith, you can pray for it and still not get it. It's ultimately up to the Lord. All right. That's what did Jeremiah say? We mentioned that earlier, you know, pray not. The Lord told him, pray not for these people. All right. So even if the prophet, even if we say, hey, man, I hope that you get faith. I hope that if the Lord don't ordain it, you're not going to have it. And that's how precious of a treasure faith is. The belief in Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is the most valuable thing that a man can have. And in these last days, we're about to see it. That's the beauty of it all, man. I'm gonna just say this last thing, give it to the next brother, is we don't have to wait long to see who's really with the Lord and who ain't, because everything's coming to pass, man. Everything is prophecy is going just according to plan. So now is the time where it's all manifested. All right. That's why the Spirit was on Apostle Hart to name this the year of apostates and sellouts, because now we're gonna see as things go on, and now you really have to show if you're down with the Lord or not. We're gonna see all of them dark individuals, all right, you know, deep, dark, conceited, wicked individuals, they're going to come to the light. And whoever's really sincere about Yahweh Hashem Yahushua is also going to come to the light. Then shall be known who are my chosen. But that's it.
Yeah. Oh, you got it, bro.
No, you could go. Can't the water. Now I just have a quick precept. This is the book of Isaiah, chapter 33 and 6. And it reads, and wisdom and knowledge shall be the stability of thy times, and strength of salvation. The fear of the Lord is his treasure. So right now we're seeing everything that the Lord said was going to happen. So that we have no reason to be afraid of what's to come, because since everything he said that's going to happen before the Great Tribulation will happen, then that means everything that will happen during and after will happen as well. So, you know, if the Lord said he got us, then best believe he does. If he says that we're going to eat while y'all niggas starve, watch y'all niggas starve, yeah, we will. You know, that's about it.
Hey, Khan, yeah, that's the confidence that we have in the Lord, because his words are faithful and they're true, right? We read it and it's been written, documented for thousands of years, right? And as it's written, it says, look into the past, right? Roughly paraphrasing, look to the past and see which men actually confided in the Lord, had confidence in the Lord, and they were what? Confounded. There was none, right? All the men from Moses, Abraham, right? Noah, and all the men that came after them that were looked at as faithful in the eyes of the Lord, one thing they always did was what? They kept praising Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai no matter what, right? Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai was their driving force no matter what, okay? And there was a quote, I think, Bakar, you showed me that quote earlier today about how, you know, like there's a certain mindset, right? And even those who, you know, fight for the corruptible. What's that?
You can read it.
Well, now you're going to make me go look for it. All right, hold on. Yep, I got it right here. It says, the corruptible crown, as glorious as it may be, has an expiration date. For even most famous athletes and celebrities of the past are only remembered now by historians, but those favored by the Most High are known even of atheists. All right, chase the incorruptible crown. Okay, so even an atheist is going to what? Remember, all right, the men of the Lord, because there's something that we said, there's something that we stood for, there's something that we did that was very significant in the course of prophecy and in the course of history. Okay, that's why our names are going to be written. Lord willing, we are those men. Our names are going to be written forever. Like it's etched in history forever. That's why Ezra said that he was basically astonished by the men that stood so stiffly for the name of the Lord. Okay, and I got a quick precept here to back up that point. All right, this is the book of Isaiah, chapter 29 and verse 19. It says, "The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord Yahweh." Why? Because we're seeing the things that the Lord said will be coming to pass that will be leading to the kingdom of Yahushua. All right, that's going to be the day where we get delivered, the day where we get removed from this chains of darkness, this captivity. Right, the day our so-called prison break, if you will. Right, that's the day that everyone is looking forward to. All right, that what I believe in the book of Romans, it tells you what that the earnest expectation is that what that is the manifestation of the sons of God, right? The earnest expectation of the creature, right? So all these nations, even including the nations, they're all going to be excited to see the kings of Israel actually come back again. Like, oh, finally the gods are here. Like, finally, like royalty and righteousness is back on the earth again. Like real royalty, not no stolen shit. Not no, I'm gonna beat you down, come to your land, come take your shit, beat you down, break you down, stomp you out, and then take your shit and then say, oh, listen, that's my shit now. No, it's gonna be done righteously, man. These nations are gonna get their cut. You know what I mean? You serve us, you're gonna get a cut. It's gonna be righteous. We're not gonna make a deal and then slice, chop it up and then throw it in your face and be like, hey, listen, it's not my fault that my oil is in your land. No, we're not gonna do that. Okay? So continue, it says, continue verse 19. It says, "The meek also shall increase their joy in the Lord, and the poor among men shall rejoice in the Holy One of Israel." Okay, so not just regular poor men, but the poor among men, right? And who are those men that are looked at as poor? The prophets. Okay, people don't do videos going against poor people in society. They don't do that. It's not something you go and see. Like you see someone poor, a homeless man, you start making videos on him, clowning. Oh, look at this thing, he's homeless. No, but people do videos on the prophets and call us bums and call us all kinds of shit that's not even true. You know what I'm saying? But they will do these things. And what did Yahushua say? He said what? He said, I know thy works and thy poverty, right? But thou art rich, right? Our tribulation. He knows it all. But we are rich. Even though we're looked at as, poor in this world, whatever the case may be, we're rich in faith. And right now, from now till the Lord come back, the most important commodity any person can have is faith. Because remember, when everyone is going to be those dark days where only faith is going to carry you through to some form of light. All right. And that's going to come from within. If you don't got that, you're going to stay in that darkness forever. You're done. You're done. There's no way you're going to get out of it. You're going to see people crying, people giving up. And when I say give up, you know what I mean? They're going to delete themselves. You're going to be seeing a lot of that. Okay. Why? Because they don't have faith. What is there to look forward to? You see? But you see the manifestation of our belief. You see all these things playing out. We're like, yo, we're in the driver's seat, baby. We see it all. There's not that much time left before we get to the actual kingdom, man. Before we see Yahushua's return. Okay? So it says what? Verse 20 says, "For the terrible one is brought to naught, and the scorner is consumed, and all that watch for iniquity are cut off." And who is that? Esau Edom. Right? Scripture says what? "Only with thine eyes shalt thou see or behold, all right, the reward of the wicked." Okay, we're gonna see this devil being cut down, man. All right, we're gonna see Michael and his angels fighting against the dragon and his angels. We're actually gonna see that epic showdown. We're gonna see that. We're gonna see how they're gonna be blasted out of the heavens like nothing, because they think they're doing all this talking is because they really believe in their arms, bro. Esau really believes that he's got something that's like above and beyond anything any man has ever seen before, which is true. That's what makes this time the time like never before, because never in human history have we seen the kind of technological advancement that we're seeing on this earth right now, right? Never in history did we see an inanimate object become, active, right? Where it can actually be incorporated into life, where it creates images like AI. It creates images, it creates voices, and it can actually mimic you, right? It's crazy. Like they can actually create a digital you. You know what I'm saying? That's the whole shift into this whole transhumanism bullshit, whatever. But then never have we seen something like this before. So imagine never seen type of artificial intelligence, like intelligence that was made by man, so much so that it believes that it's conscious Only thing it doesn't have is a spirit or a soul, but it believes that it's conscious. Man hasn't created that before. You create you create a car or these things that needed man to actually power it. Now Esau says, no, we're going to create devices that man don't need to power shit. As a matter of fact, it can power man. You see, we can create artificial intelligence that can make a man active. I can move you around and shit like that. That's crazy. You see? But then look at that and look at what kind of disaster could come out of that, right? What kind of ruins that could come out of this. This is why it's called a time like never before. They're going to use this type of technology, all powerful technology, to create all kinds of destruction. That's what it boils down to, because he's the man of sin. Okay? So verse 21, it says, that make a man an offender for a word, and lay a snare for him that reproveth in the gate, and turn aside the just for a thing of naught. So as she always mentioned, people like Stephen Miller, okay, he's a prime example of somebody who will make a man an offender for the word, okay, because he creates these narratives, these actual things that Trump actually reads. Most of it is written by Stephen Miller, okay, and apparently he's Trump's top advisory, whatever. I'm like, this nigga is advising the president. This nigga here, this atheist, nihilistic piece of shit is advising the president of the country. So now you see the direction in which the country is going, right? A nigga who could come up and tell you straight up, we're going to take Greenland and nobody's going to make war against us. Like, this nigga sound like he on drugs. Get him off this TV, man. You know what I'm saying? But these are the people that are actually, that's why the scriptures tell you that what? The Lord says he's going to take the wise men out of what? Out of Teman. Okay? The wise men of Edom are going to be no more, because in a society, you need to have wise men. Kings had wise men, okay? So they can counsel, hey, how do I go about this? What's the best way to do this? And you have these different men, like a round table, so to speak, right? Trump don't got a cabinet. He don't got a round table that could sit his ass down and be like, nah, Mr. President, I don't think we should go about it this way. You know, here's the evidence. Maybe if you wait a little bit. They're not giving him no strategies, man. He's just doing shit as he says. Marco Rubio, hey, you go do this. You know what I'm saying? Hey, JD Vance, you go do that. You know what I'm saying? And that's just it. They do it. Except you go do this, and that's it. Nobody's there to rein him in and be like, hey, listen, man, da. So it's not happening. See? No more do you have those wise men that could give this nigga counsel, man. All right? And that's what's leading to America's downfall. Okay? Because he's being brash. He's making decisions without checks and balances. You know what I'm saying? He's going straight, like you said, you go headlong. All right? He's going straight to destruction headlong, man. Nothing's going to stop him. All right, quick one. This is the book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 10. It says, and I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength, okay, and the kingdom of our power. So we're living in the days that leads to that. Again, this is a prophecy. It doesn't change. So no matter what Trump says, right, back in 2024, he was like, when he becomes president, he's going to, he said, what did he say? He said, World War III is not going to happen. Nigga, what? World War III is not going to happen, huh? Meanwhile, you're spearheaded in World War III, but it's not going to happen. Okay. It said, and people believe him too. That's the funny thing. They actually believe this nigga. It's crazy. It says what? It says the kingdom of our power and the power of his anointed. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accuse them before our power day and night. And it's not just any accusation. It's false accusations, man. Okay. You made things up. All right. Pushed it through your media. And then you were hoping that these whole ass people will buy it and come against us. But little did you know that the Heavenly Father, right, the Holy One that sitteth in heaven, is laughing at all this. He's like, well, this is such a weak attempt. You think you're gonna frame my holy ones, the ones that I've chosen, my cluster of grapes, my elect? You can't do nothing against the elect of the Most High, right? There's a reason why we have this knowledge, we have this truth. That's what separates us from the rest of the world. That's what makes us special in the eyes of the Lord. So when we call upon the name of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he listens to us. All right. Contrary to popular belief, all right, the God of the universe, not no God in Jesus Christ. We're talking about Yahweh Yahushai, the King of Kings, the King of the universe. Right? When we speak to the King of the universe, he listens to us. Okay? He makes things happen on our behalf in real time. All right? So you people could talk your shit. Stephen Miller, you could say your threats and all this whole ass shit. Guess what? You can't do nothing to the elect. All right? And Lord willing, if we're out of that number, man, you got something coming. Go read the book of Esther and get a little glimpse, because you niggas is following the same tracks of Haman and his people, man. You're following the same footsteps. And guess what happens? History repeats itself. So just keep that in mind. All right? Keep that in mind. Y'all brothers got it.
I had a quick precept, unless you brothers had something. I had one to land back off of the brother Aharon, and this is going into Isaiah 10 and 13, and I'm gonna just skim through these verses. But basically, this is going into Assyria, okay? And we know that America is known as spiritual Assyria. Okay, so let's read this. Isaiah 10 and 13. For he saith, by the strength of my hand I have done it, and by my wisdom, for I am prudent. And I have removed the bounds of the people, and have robbed their treasures, and I have put down the inhabitants like a valiant man. Okay, so who does that sound like? That's Esau Edom. Oh, you had something, Shalom? Oh, sorry. I thought I saw you raise your hand. But it said that he said by the strength of his own hand he has done it. And that's what individuals like Stephen Miller, Trump, his look is more stout than his fellows. All these American devils are the most prideful beings and individuals that ever existed. All right. And their pride is going to a whole new level because now they have this technology with these missiles and these different things, that the technology that the Lord gave them, the shit that they're talking is like on a whole nother level. All right. It says that Antiochus believed that he could command the waves of the sea. That's how Trump be talking. All right. That's how these devils be talking. Not understanding that they are fulfilling the lie and everything that the Lord right here in this verse is speaking against the Assyrians. All right. And it says, and my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people, Venezuela, Greenland, Mexico. And this is just recent history. We can go into centuries of American imperialism of what they've done overseas and gone to other countries and pillage and destroy them. That's just in this empire. We can talk about other empires that Esau has done it. The British Empire did the same thing. This, at one point, they said that the sun never sets on the British Empire, man. And the same thing can apply to America right now. All right. The whore that sitteth upon many waters. All right. They got military bases in all these different countries, man. And I was meditating on today, like, this devil never has enough. You know, you can never have enough. If you give Jake, even in this kingdom, we get a little something, we be praising the Lord, like, man, the Lord, you know, he blessed me up a little bit. You'd be so grateful for the little bit the Lord gave you. Here it is. Esau has trillions and trillions, and it's still not enough. That's a you problem, man. That's because you're an insatiable bastard. You can never be satisfied. You can never be satisfied. Esau cannot just sit back and say, you know what? Let me enjoy this right now. He's just constantly on the move, constantly to the next thing, you know? But it says here, and my hand hath found as a nest the riches of the people. The same thing the Assyrians did, right? And as one gathereth eggs that are left, have I gathered all the earth, and there was none that moved the wing or opened the mouth or peeped. And essentially, they can't do anything to stop this man. You see? That's why, ultimately, when he went for Venezuela, who stopped him? You know? Now, there's going to be certain resistance, of course. We know his kingdom is going down. He's fractured. It's not as easy for him to do what he's doing, but ultimately, he bears not the sword in vain. He has the sword, and he's willing to use it. All right? And it's going to come to the point where he's going to be so out of control where those missiles are going to fly. All right? But at this point, the Lord has ordained it that Esau Edom is the hammer of the earth. And they're coming through and taking and pillaging, like he said, might make strength. You know, the strength basically makes you righteous. If you have power and might, then you're right in this current world setup. That's how they look at it, because this is a world that is ruled by the power of the sword, by military conquest. It's not ruled by righteousness. It's ruled by the law of the jungle. It's ruled by violence. Okay, and it says. And this was really the point I wanted to get. Shall the axe boast itself against him that heweth therewith? So the Lord is wielding you in his hand, all right, through the left hand, and he's hacking away at different nations and judging different people using Esau Edom. But did you not consider that the Lord is going to eventually break you, the axe? Especially imagine you using the axe and the axe start talking shit at you. Yeah, I'm great, as you hacking away using it. You ain't great. I'm using you. You're just a piece of wood attached to a metal, a piece of metal that was sharpened. A tool, an instrument to take down trees. So how the hell you look boasting against me? I made you. You know, the Heavenly Father made you. And he made you for a certain time to rule and have your dominion and to use you as an instrument of judgment. But now you got high off your own supply and you think that you're the one doing it out of your own might. Okay? It says, or shall the saw magnify itself against him that shaketh it? Imagine using a power tool, and the power tool get up and start talking shit and say, yeah, look what I did. Like, nigga, I'm using you. I'm wielding you. But here it is. You forgot that you're just a tool. You know, you don't, you know, when you're a hammer, every problem, how's that shit go? When all you have is a hammer, every problem looks like a nail, correct? You know, so basically that's all you're gonna use because you have that weapon, you have the weaponry. The Lord gave you the sword, so it's like shit. Yeah, we'll bomb over here. That usually fixes everything. You know, we'll drop some napalm here, we'll drop some bombs here. You know, that's how he rules. So everything to him, every problem is a nail because he's the hammer of the earth. But did you not consider that the Lord is going to turn it on you and judge you? And don't you read this? Like you Edomites, you elites, you should read these scriptures because we know that they sometimes at time they get into the scriptures. You know, you should read this and say, damn, this directly applies to you. You are the axe that's being used and you have world domination in the time where the world is in the worst state that it's ever been. You don't ever stop to think that you're the one fulfilling the lot of being the wicked, the red horse. Esau's the end of the world, Jacob's the beginning of it that follow. If you don't ever stop to think that this all applies to you, and we know that you do because you watch these videos. All right. But it says, as if the rod shaketh itself against them that lift it up, or as if the staff should lift up itself as if it were no wood. Right. If the Lord didn't wield you, you wouldn't be able to do what you're doing. So it's the Most High that gave you the certain power to do what you're doing. As it says, the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire. Okay. So the Most High gave you nuclear technology. The Most High created the nuclear scientists to have this. He gave you everything he gave you. All right. Therefore shall the Lord of hosts, send among his fat ones leanness, and under his glory he shall kindle a burning fire, a burning like the burning of a fire. And that time is quickly coming where you're going to be brought down. All right. And that's going to be by the way of the weapon that the Lord gave you, your own weapon, the nuclear technology that you have, certain technology you have access to is far beyond, you know, your ability. And you don't have the wisdom to have the technology that the Lord gave you. So it's going to come to a point where it's going to destroy you. And the Lord is going to put that thought in your mind. All right. Just as he did Pharaoh, just as he hardened his heart, he's going to harden your heart to where you're going to fire missiles upon each other. You think you're going to go into your bunkers and hide away to get away from the wrath of the Lord. And you're going to be found out. All right. Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai is gonna search you out. And you're going to be the first fruits of slavery, man. All right. There's a couple more. It says, in the light of Israel, which is Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, shall be for a fire, and his Holy One for a flame. And it shall burn and devour his thorns and his briars in one day. Okay. And amen. We know there was a certain time where the Lord judged the Assyrians. 185,000 of them was destroyed in an instant because they came against Hezekiah, Isaiah, and the remnant at the time. All right. And applying it to now, you know, there's going to come a day where in 1 hour your kingdom's going to be devoured very quickly and in an instant. All right. So with all of the boasting that you do, you know, it's a beautiful thing because you're just showing more who you are. So when we see you boast and brag and beat on your chest, we're like, man, you're just fulfilling a lot of being Esau. Keep doing it. And we're going to keep exposing you. So long as the Lord got the spirit on us to do it, we're going to keep exposing you, man. And this is the last verse. It says, and shall consume the glory, last two verses, and shall consume the glory of his forest and of his fruitful field, both soul and body, and they shall be as when a standard bearer fainted. In the NLT, it says, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai will consume Assyria's glory, like a fire consumes a forest and a fruitful land. It will waste away like sick people in a plague. And that's going to come when the ICBMs hit. All right, it says, of all that glorious forest, only a few trees will survive. So few that a child could count them, man. So, and we know when this judgment comes, the Lord is going to leave, nothing left of this kingdom. It's going to be a desolate wasteland. And the only ones that you left that's going to be in them bunkers, you're going to be the first fruits of slavery. You're going to wish that you got disintegrated in the missiles. When you find out your fate, all right, and when you understand that Yahweh Shai has returned, all right, and he has delivered his elect up, all right, and that's when they really going to shit their pants, man. All right, just like Tucker Carlson been shitting his pants, man, looking at the judgment that's going on, all right, because they know they went to the apostles, all right, they watched these videos, man, they watched the prophets, all right, so hey, man, yeah, it's over with. Y'all got it.
Hey, Khan, and as you were speaking, it just made me think because the scriptures talks about how Trump, speaks about how Esau, his look is more stout than his fellows. And when you see, how these other world power leaders speak, right? They don't speak as arrogantly as Trump is speaking, right? Because he is in this position of looking at themselves as the Babylonian mindset, is that they can, right, do whatever they want and nobody can stop them, because like as a hammer, right, as a hammer doesn't get attacked, a hammer does the attacking. So when the Lord specifies and labels Babylon the Great as the hammer of the earth, it's rightfully so, right, that we're seeing it play out, and America is fulfilling that lot. I have this quick little article here where Trump was asked, let's see, about who could basically stop him, limit his global power, right? And his response was, as it says, Trump says his own morality is limit to his global power. It says Donald Trump reportedly told the New York Times that his own morality serves as the thing that could potentially limit his global powers, adding that he doesn't need international law. See, so this is very, very boastful. All right, he is saying that, my own mind, right? Because I think he says it down here, right? It says, as part of a wide-ranging interview with the New York Times published Thursday, Trump was asked Wednesday whether there were any limits to his global power. So this is why when he speaks about, we're going to just own Venezuela, right? He said, remember before he said we're going to own Gaza, right? He's going to own Greenland, right? He's going to own Mexico waters. They're just owning everything, and he is saying that because, as the brothers were saying, that is the mindset that really the Lord got this devil in, and it's actually the Lord has him in this mindset purposely, just like how he did Pharaoh, right? He didn't boast Pharaoh up because he fucked with Pharaoh. Like, yo, I want you to be, mad, bad, boastful. Yeah, yeah, nah, I'm cool with you. No, he said, for this same cause that I raise you up, so that I can show my power in thee, right? And the Lord never said he hated the Egyptians. The Lord hates Esau. So the fact that he allowed Esau to get this boastful, knowing, right, that he hates him, what do you think the judgment is going to be? If you see what the Lord did to Egypt in its boasting, you see what the Lord did to Nebuchadnezzar, right? He turned him into a beast because of his boasting. Esau is going to be worse than a beast in the kingdom. Your existence is going to be worse than the Lord gave Nebuchadnezzar a mind of a beast. Your existence is going to be worse than that, because you're going to know exactly who you are and what you did, but you're going to be living worse than an actual beast. You see, so he has you in this trick bag, as we always say. As the scripture says, the deceived and the deceiver are his, right? You think that you have actually some type of power, or you have some type of say so on the matters that be. The scriptures tell you, as the sorrows get worse, the powers are going to stand in fear. All right, the powers of this present world are going to stand in fear at the things that are coming upon the earth. Because you feel like you're in charge now, like Bane told old boy. Do you feel in charge? You feel in charge. But once the Lord really unleashes his wrath, you're not going to feel in charge anymore. And that is why you want to run to your bunkers, right? You want to try to, tell Elon that he gotta
If you feel like
fuck
you're
it.
on the wrong
He gotta
road,
he gotta
thanks.
expedite he gotta expedite the SpaceX. You gonna try to get the Bezos, right, to get his whatever his shit is called, right? The other dude that owns Virgin Airlines, you're gonna try to get him to get his shit on because you're gonna try to escape, but there's not gonna be any escape for you. Right. As it reads, it says, he was asked, Trump was asked Wednesday, were there any limits to his global powers? Yeah, there is one thing, my own morality, my own mind. It's the only thing that can stop me, Trump reportedly said in the New York Times. And when I read that, it reminded me of what Ghost said during Power, like the last episode of the last season. Ghost kept saying the whole entire, nothing can stop me. Nothing can stop me. Right? And what ended up stopping Ghost? His own son. Well, guess what? The Heavenly Father going to send his own son to stop you, right? In your own shit. Because Ghost got killed when he was on top of his own club, thinking that he was good, and his own son when you least expected it. You see, reading this here in the book of Maccabees, chapter 2, verse 4, it says, "Then swelling with anger," speaking about Antiochus, right after he just got put to flight after losing a battle, right? It says, "Then swelling with anger, he thought to avenge upon the Jews the disgrace done unto him by those that made him flee." You see? So that's Esau's MO. Whenever he feels like he's losing something, right? Whenever he feels like he getting embarrassed, you know what? I can still jack up these Israelites. And that's why with the whole shit with Russia, right? And the whole shit with China, Trump went all the way over to China thinking he was about to bully Xi Jinping into doing some deals. Them deals still ain't get signed. You talking about your tariffs? The niggas, they said, "Yo, you want to go any type of war? We can go to war with you. You want to do trade war? You want to do physical war? Any type of war, we can go to war with you." So Trump had to act like he was doing something, but he really wasn't doing nothing when it came to Russia, right? He really wasn't doing nothing when it came to China. Matter of fact, even when it came to Iran, he ain't really. He boasted in your B-2 bombers. That ain't do shit. So because of your embarrassment when it comes to the world stage of geopolitics, you over here now, you know what? I'm gonna go fuck up the South, the Latin tribes, right? You already fucking up you've been fucking up the Southern Kingdom, but you started now put your attention on the Northern Kingdom in America, but now you're going outside of America, right? Into the actual countries of the Latin tribes and start and fucking them up. But that's Esau's MO because the scripture says that he has a what? Perpetual hatred. All right, he has a perpetual hatred for Jacob. It says, therefore, commanded he his chariotmen to drive without ceasing and to dispatch the journey, the judgment of God now following him. And that's what you're not understanding. How fast you're moving when it comes to you trying to set up your new world order. You putting hell on Jake. You setting up the troops, right, to come in like madmen. You over here chasing Jake, right, to persecute us. But the Lord is following you. The Lord is on your ass. And the judgment of the Lord is soon following, man. And this is why, as the brother Asher said, hey, come do what you got to do, right? Because you're not considering the latter end of it. And as that's what it says in Isaiah the 47th chapter. You're not considering how this all plays out because of your pomp, because of your arrogancy. Let me get this here in the book of Obadiah, chapter 1, verse 3. It says, "The pride of thine heart has deceived thee." You saying that only your own morality, your own mind, that can stop you. So you're not thinking about the Heavenly Father, right? You're not thinking about a higher power being able to stop you. You saying only what I think and how I you know, break down things and see what is right and what is wrong. That's the only thing that can stop me. But you don't judge a right. So anything that you call right is going to be wrong, and anything that you call wrong is probably going to be right. So you're going to just continue to wax worse and worse because your mind, right, your heart is lifted up, and also, as it says in Habakkuk, right, your soul that is lifted up is not upright in him. Okay, and this is why as you continue to push on, it's only going to get worse and worse, right? As the title of the lesson is, the sorrows are only just getting started. Reading on, it says, "The pride of thine heart has deceived thee, thou that dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, and that saith in thy heart, who shall bring me down to the ground?" As we just read, Trump. Not that's the only thing that can stop me. Who can bring me down when it comes to international law? I don't have to follow that. I think that's more in this article. Yeah, I know I took it off, but he says I don't need international law, right? He says he doesn't need international law. And what do you think you're saying these things? This is getting published. What do you think your enemies are thinking? What do you even think your allies are thinking? Because it's clear that you're not even respecting your own rules, right? When it comes to landmarks, right? When it comes to who has sovereignty and who doesn't, and the rules and engagement when it comes to those things, right? Another piece of information here where Trump speaks about what the hell did I go? Um, Slovakia. I thought I had this up here. Oh yeah, here you go. When he speaks about Greenland, let me share this real quick. He says either we could do this however you want to do it, right? He was over there speaking like was it the dude from the jail? We can do this the easy way. We can do this the hard way. I forgot his name.
Fleece Johnson.
Yeah, Fleece Johnson. There you go. Right. That's how he over here talking. The Greenland is mine. It belongs to me. But let's listen to what he says here. So I can. Let me see. Can y'all hear that? Can y'all hear this?
How much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland
No.
to get them?
Can you raise up the volume a little bit?
I'm not talking about money for
Hold on.
Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right
So
now,
I can.
we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not.
Can y'all hear that?
Because if we don't do it,
Good.
Russia
It's a little low, but we can hear it.
will take over Greenland. And we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
Question: how much money are you thinking of giving people in Greenland to get them on board with a possible U.S.
I'm not
takeover?
talking about money for Greenland yet. I might talk about that. But right now, we are going to do something on Greenland, whether they like it or not. Because if we don't do it, Russia or China will take over Greenland. And we're not going to have Russia or China as a neighbor.
Hey, Zaquan, I just wanted to say real quick. Are you speaking?
No. Go ahead. I didn't realize I was on mute, but you got.
Oh shit! Yeah, I was going to say he just said something stupid because he just said we're not going to allow Russia or China to be our neighbor. But what about Alaska? Like Russia is like 50 miles away from Alaska. Isn't that a neighbor? Like so, all this like it goes to show you that they set up these things as agitation propaganda. Like they have to have a reason to come out and do these things. So now all of a sudden, oh, another reason why not only is it for national security, but we don't want Russia or China to take it, like to come take over that land. So we're going to go over there and take that land. Like Russia never came out and said we're coming for Greenland. China never said we're coming for Greenland, but you are declaring that you're going to go take over Greenland with the excuse that you don't want Russia or China to go take it. That's bullshit. Okay. But again, that's the devil for you, man. You guys are Quan.
Yep. Yep. And that's exactly the narrative, right? The lie that they want people to believe, right? Let's just use same shit that Biden was saying. It's Putin's problem. Putin. It's the same shit, right? Gas prices, you want to blame it on Putin. Greenland been over there for how long? And now all of a sudden, oh, we don't want China and Russia. China and Russia want to take it. They could have been took that shit. Like, what do you mean? They got missiles that's gonna fly over Greenland. They're not worried about Greenland. And when you look at the map, right, Esau with his lies, right, they make it seem like Greenland is mad big. Greenland not even that big. They only, like how you said, it only got 30,000 people on it. It's not anything that is worth China and Russia drawing up a whole strategic war plan just to go get fucking Greenland, right? But they put they put that out there so the simple can believe every word and be like, you know what? Well, we can't let China or Russia have it, so anyway, he got to go do what he got to go do. We support it. It's all propaganda. When you look into World War I and World War II specifically, right? When you look into how the news machine was pumping out propaganda to get the people to actually be with going to war, because in the beginning they wasn't with going to war, right? And they needed something to galvanize the minds of the people to go to be okay with going to war, because their whole plan the whole time was to enter into that war, but America had no reason to go into it, so they kept pushing out propaganda, pushing out communism and all this shit propaganda. And then once they did the FLAG over there in Hawaii, the false FLAG, they was like, okay, well, we gotta go. They're like, yeah, let's go do it. And then you simple dummies fall for it all the time. But now, because like Ron said, there's no wisdom in teaming, right? Now your enchantment ain't enchanting as it once was, right? And that's also because of the information through social media, right? The prophets, right? And also these so-called truthers. Everybody's a journalist now. So you're not able to control the narrative as you once was before, which is why Bibi said, "Oh, we're fighting a eighth war front, which is a war of information, right? Social media. You see, and when we gotta have everybody on deck, to fight against this." And then you had Dr. Phil said, "I will stay out. It'll be an honor to get to fight for you." You see, because they got their agents, they got their messengers, right? That is going to, put a spew out lies and deceits that is going to fool, right? Is going to fool a lot of people. But we see right through that, man. The prudent, right, foreseeth the evil and hide it themselves. Okay, and that's all through the light that we have received through this glorious gospel, right? Your darkness, right? Your deceit, none of that it works on the elect, man. And this is why ultimately you're gonna have to do something, to stop us from speaking. Well, stop people from hearing us speak, right? The famine of the hearing of the word, all right? Your censorship, using anti-S rhetoric and all that, so that these videos are not going to be available. Hey, but that's okay, because that's just another phase of you losing. All right. You think that you stopping us is actually going to stop your downfall, when the only thing that's going to do is just take us to another point of your downfall. So going back to Obadiah, it says, though thou exalt thyself as the eagle, right? Eagle face Trump. And though thou set thy nest among the stars, thence will I bring thee down, saith the Lord. See? And they actually were speaking about this year. They're gonna go return to the moon. Okay. So obviously we know that they never been there in the first place, but they actually might try through technology or AI or whatever. They might actually try to go to the moon this year, but the Lord ain't gonna let that happen, because you can't get there, man. Right? But the fact that you're 50, 60 years later, now this is the year that you want to go, that you're try to go to the moon. You got Elon Musk talking about we about to colonize Mars. The Lord about to bring you down, man. You ain't going no goddamn where except for into pits and into slavery. But you got it.
Yeah, I just want to say one last thing, and then brothers, could close it out. But basically, the Lord has set it up where in the 250th year of America's existence, they're pushing all this high-minded, lofty goals, like on some like prideful shit to a whole nother level. This year is the year they decided they want to go to the moon. Elon Musk talking about they want to go to Mars, conquer Mars. That's the word he used, conquer Mars. Like everything to them is a war. Conquer this, conquer that, conquistador type shit. That's them. Okay, so literally the Lord is using this year to literally make Esau bare, right? Uncover the leg, uncover the thigh. Just literally just making him completely bare, man. So if you still can't see it and see him for who he is, then that's on you. Okay, literally the Lord has blinded you so you can't see the truth for what it is, man. Even when it's right there in your face. Okay, to a point where it's so right there that even a blind man could notice that, yo, hold up, there's light over here and there's dark over here. When you close your eyes, you could tell there's darkness and there's light. You know what I'm saying? Your eyelids can still tell if there's light and there's darkness, right? Even blind people can see that, oh, the light is over here and the darkness is over here. But niggas with eyes wide open, they still can't see it. They try to defend the darkness, talking about, oh, why you Hebrews like saying that the so-called white man can't be saved? Why can't make it? Jake, man, that brother got it, man.
Yeah, one last precept on here, pertaining to what brothers were saying. Let me see if I still got it on here. But basically, it's in the book of Ezekiel, as the Lord said that he was going to bring judgment upon Israel. Actually, I got it here. It's Ezekiel 24:14. It says, I, the Lord, have spoken it. It shall come to pass, and I will do it. I will not go back, neither will I spare, neither will I repent. According to thy ways and according to thy doings shall they judge thee, saith the Lord God. And that's the one last thing that I wanted to mention, which is that once the Lord does this, there is no going back, right? Like, you're not gonna reverse it, right? He's not gonna stop it. Like, once the Lord makes a move, you never get to undo that. Okay, none, that doesn't happen. And people forget because they've been so spoiled with the ability of choice, right? A lot of people give the answer so freely. Oh, I just don't want to do it, you know. And it has become so bad that they don't have a douche in their life because they just say, oh, I just don't want to do it. Or I didn't feel like doing it. Why didn't you do it? Oh, I didn't feel like doing it, you know. And there are very few situations where people are actually forced to do something they don't want to do, and they don't have a choice in the matter. Even jobs, people get fired and quit from their jobs over something stupid, but they'll say, oh, I just didn't feel like doing that, so I just quit. So in their minds, there's nothing that's like tough enough to force them to do something that they don't want to do until the judgment of the Lord, which is where you're actually forced to experience something you absolutely do not want at all. Forget consent. You're not getting none. You're forced to be in this situation, i.e., for example, a famine. You can't say, I don't want to do that to a famine. You're going to be starving, feeling the pains of it, and having no escape. If you're at the mercy of being in a concentration camp, you can't say, I just don't want to be here, so now poof, I'm out of here. No, you're going to feel every bit of pain of the judgment of the Lord without a choice. And that is going to hit a lot of people hard because their minds are not prepared, nor are their bodies prepared for that because of how spoiled they've become. So yeah, that's what I just wanted to mention in there. But that's it for me.
You got it, bro. Go ahead.
My fault. Yeah, I just had one last point about Greenland. I was just looking into it, and lo and behold, it says that Greenland is rich in rare earth elements, lithium, and other critical minerals vital for green tech. It says it's crucial for batteries and electronics with potential to be among the world's largest deposits. Because I'm sitting here thinking, you fighting over an island that's damn near by Antarctica. That's like a desolate. Most of that country is a desolate wasteland. It's just an ice sheet. But there's always a method to the madness. There's something there that he wants. You see, and they want those rare earth elements. And one thing I noticed is that this desire to set up this beast system and this AI race has ignited something in these elites and these American devils to where they're moving very quickly, and they are trying to just take and pull from whatever they can to try to beat China on the AI thing, Russia and China in the AI thing. So I thought it was very interesting, and we're going to see how it pans out, man. But, the fact that they're moving with such urgency means that this thing can, that MOTB could drop any minute now, so, just throwing that out there, something to keep an eye out for.
Yep. I did some a little bit of research, and rare earth minerals are very, very vital to robotics and AI in general. So, they talking about this year maybe is the year of the robots. So if they're trying to get robots to as prevalent as they're talking in your everyday life, then they're gonna need a lot of rare earth minerals. But the problem that they have is that when it comes to refining, because they can have the rare earth minerals, but when it comes to refining the rare earth minerals, they don't have those the capability as China does. And I've seen that they said that in order for them to get to the point that China is, where it comes to refining the rare earth minerals, it would take them decades, right? It would take them decades to even get to that point. So I mean, clearly Esau think he got a plan, but your efforts are futile. Okay, it's really futile, but you know, it is what it is because you're gonna lose at the end of the day. So yeah, we'll close it out with that. Lord willing, this was edifying unto the elect. In closing, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakah Kodash. Till next time, Shalom to the elect.